Hello there, and welcome back to the Senate Podcast. I think we're on episode 5. That's what it says, and this should go out as episode 5. We're going to piggyback off of kind of what we've been talking about the last few weeks, which is Pokemon. Today, I have a special guest with me. Corey, gotta catch 'em all, Kaufman. That's going to be your name today.
What's up? It's Corey, a.k.a. Chubbs, a.k.a. Chubbs Cards and Collectibles.
I have a lot of questions for you today, but off the top, what have you been up to lately?
So on Black Friday, I finally bought my first gaming computer. Everything
I'm hyped for you.
But the computer. Everything but the computer is here. I don't even think it's built yet. Got my monitor, my mics, my webcams will be here tomorrow. So I'm just excited for that.
Also, you got the whole thing set up.
I got everything, bro. The hardest part is I know nothing about PCs as far as like what processor do I need, what kind of cables, all that. So I just had like a small group of people. We all were like sharing links back and forth Friday night. Or no, this was Thursday night. This was on Thanksgiving still. And we were just like sharing links like, should I get this one? No, look at this one. If you get this, you need to grab that. So luckily I had that GTX 1080 I got for $250 a year ago, which was insane. So
PCs, the fact that you can build them, that's almost the way to go. I mean, everyone's, PC, it's, master race, whatever. You got so many options, you know what I mean? Like you're saying last year you bought that and you got a good deal on it. Now this year you can actually, put the parts together. It's like your Iron Man you're building. It's like you're just building a machine.
Yep. So like I'm pretty excited to actually like start understanding and learning like, oh, this just came out. This is this much faster or whatever. And like my monitor has a DP as well as HDMI. And I didn't even know what that was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I guess that's better. I don't know. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Mine, I think that's what I'm using on mine because mine has both. So,
well, like once we got the 1080, it's like, can it get any better? Like it advanced so far until it's like, I feel like at this point it's such minute stuff that like the human eye can't even recognize it.
Yeah, and I don't even know what the resolution of the human eye is, but what's crazy is everybody's eye is different. And I love talking about resolution specifically because I'm like a resolution snob. I can tell the difference between 1080, 1440, 4K, 8K. Like I can actually very like distinctly tell the difference. Like if you show me something, I could probably tell you what the resolution is. Behind me, I have an OLED TV that's 4K, and that's what I have everything hooked up to because I used to have it connected to my monitor, like you were saying, for 1080. And I don't mind 1080, but I can really tell a difference. So my next step is to get a 1440p monitor, but I don't want to spend the money because I got a TV that does the job. But yeah, I started learning about all that once I started getting equipment and playing around with audio quality, playing around with different like cameras. Like you said, you had a webcam.
Well, I have one built in my laptop that apparently doesn't work, but I bought 2 Logitech 920S's.
Okay, that's what I use.
I think it's the S Plus or something, whatever comes after the S. Pro. It's the Pro, S Pro. Yeah. I got 2 because for when I do like box breaks and sell packs on my streams, I wanted an overhead shot of my hand so you can see me actually opening, and then I wanted like one point at me so you can get my emotions and hypeness.
So you're doing unboxings?
Yeah, I do unboxings. Now that the PC's ordered and we're getting this train moving, the game plan is to do like Nuzlocke and Soul Links on Pokemon, and then have a live card shop.
Way to go!
And then just have a live card shop. So like I'll have a menu up, and you can just buy packs. That way, people aren't just like I'm not relying on people buying packs and having to open them on my own dime when I don't have anyone buying them. And then on top of it too, I want to update the menu. So I have a distribution plug so I can get packs for almost cost. I want to have not only Pokemon, but like the Naruto trading card game. I want to have White Schwartz just released Star Wars. Topps also does Star Wars. I want to have, and then like junk wax like 80s and 90s like Super Mario Brothers or Nintendo. Like just kind of like cool trading cards. So like even people that aren't into Pokemon, they'll have something that would be interesting. Even if they only really collect, they'll just be like, well, I love Nintendo. I'll open up these Donkey Kong packs or like they have like My Little Pony, Digimon, Dragon Ball. Like there's so many
That's
different,
awesome.
and like
Yeah.
the '90s Marvel trading cards, they're sick. Like
I was just about to say, for me, obviously, you know, I love Pokemon cards, but the Marvel cards I've really been into lately. That's cool, you know, that you're getting your PC, you got the two cameras coming, and you're going to start, you know, not just being being a content creator, which I have a lot of thoughts on that word, but like
I hate it.
yeah, I do too.
It's
And
cringe. I guess they have to give it a word, but it just sounds super like white privilege, like first world problems. Like, it
it
just
sounds
feels
first world problems.
gross.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually have a good story about this if this is the topic we're on right now.
Let's do it. Let's just go. Let's do it.
So, I was talking to this girl on Facebook dating for like a month, and she told me she does like Fortnite and Call of Duty streams.
And she's a
stuff.
content creator.
She literally said, "I'm a content creator." And I
Well,
was like, I'm gonna overlook this just because I think she's attractive, and she actually has like, I don't know, a big turn off for me is when girls like don't have hobbies or passions and just kind of like exist. Like I like someone that's passionate and like has like goals, or like it doesn't even have to be goal, like motivated kind of, I
yeah,
guess. And
yeah.
like, you know, like they're
Game plan. She has a game plan.
yeah, it's not even. I like the game plan thing, but I just like when people have passion about stuff. Like I don't know, I just think it's weird. Like when you're dating someone, like you're so passionate about X, Y, Z, and they're just like kind of there, just like yeah. But anyways, so like I don't know, it
She
was
has
just kind
ambition.
of yeah, it was just kind of one of them things I overlooked her saying that just for the time being, and
Mistake.
the one day I'm driving to work and she calls me and she's like freaking out, like almost in tears. And she's telling me that like Instagram's messing up, and apparently like a bunch, including her, a bunch of people got locked out of their accounts where it flagged it as a possible bot and she couldn't sign in or do anything. And her account was in basically limbo and she had no way. Instagram said they resolved it. Hers wasn't resolved, so she's under the impression her Instagram's like going to be deactivated. And I'm trying to like talk her down, like it's a bug. I'm sure they're going to fix it. I wouldn't upset yourself already because it didn't happen yet. Like worry about that if it does happen. There's nothing you can do right now. Prior to this conversation, when she first told me she streamed, she was like, I gotta get off, I gotta stream. And I was like, word, go get the bag. Like, meaning like, I
Yeah.
hope you kill it, and if you get money, sick.
Yeah.
And she like freaks out on me saying, I don't get paid to do this. I get very little money. It's not the same even my income, like blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I knew this as you were telling me. Like, obviously you're not like Jeffree Star or anything, but I was just trying to be supportive. But so like, mind you, she snapped on me saying she makes no money off it and it's just kind of like a hobby. And then when she's freaking out, I'm like you can work your way back up. It's not a big deal, blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'm losing followers by the day. I'm going to lose my ad revenue, blah. I'm like, you told me you didn't even make money off of this. And now you're acting like it's like your entire life is crumbling around. Needless to say, after that, I was going to say, needless to say, after that conversation, I hung up on her. We've never talked again.
Okay, that brings me to this question. Do you think it was do you think she actually had a passion for it, or that she had a passion for the clout she got from it?
She gave me very like entitled vibes.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it was a mixture of both. I mean, I think she was passionate about it.
Yeah, and I guess it's sad because I guess you're losing, I guess, the potential for what it could be before it even even starts, I guess. But you know, when you're passionate about something, it's just you're so wrapped up in it. And I kind of have a problem with the content creator label because I feel like you're doing it like for the clout if you're considered a content creator because your whole success, you know, revolves around getting the views, the clicks, the watch time, the subscribers, the followers, you know, comments,
I,
all of the algorithm, you know, all of the metrics you have to hit.
I mean, here's the rule I justify in my head. It's okay to be called a content creator. Don't call yourself a content creator.
Yeah, that's true. Like if someone says, you know, I'm a content creator, I guess, you know, technically you're right because I am actually creating content, but I'm never going to self-label, you know, what I do as I'm a content creator. I'd rather be a podcaster or, you know, a host or something like that because that's what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to do, hey, I need this for the views. I need this for the whatever. You know what I mean? But that's interesting hearing about, you know, you trying to start that because I know one thing that I used to love is watching people on stream open up cards live because the hype you get from pulling out something crazy, you know, with everybody there. That is, I think, what the high, you know, and the moments we're chasing more than the subscriber count or the viewer count. You know what I mean?
To me, I think the make or break is the person's personality as well.
Hmm.
There's nothing more boring than just like a single Instagram reel or TikTok of someone just opening a pack and that's that. I mean, whether or not they pull the best card or not, if you're just boring with it and not emotional or passionate about it, it definitely like it. I think it's what makes or breaks it. The very few amount of people that do watch me, they swear by like the entertainment portion. I'm funny. I mean, I've done like nights where we streamed and I had to take a shot every single time a new person bought packs
Oh yeah, people love that.
and did like a $20 donation for a shot. And I got pretty drunk on the internet and I got like shirtless and like, it was insane. I was acting up. Like, I don't know, it's fun. I just, if it's not fun, then I know it's not entertaining. I just try to remind myself, like, would you watch this? Like,
Yeah,
as I'm live or as I'm filming, I'm like, don't just make content to make it. You got to make it have a purpose and like either draw emotion or entertainment or like I think that's like the most I feel like everyone their mother wants to make content and like be a content creator. I say that with air quotes.
but
But
how
like
valuable is the
exactly.
content? And that is the my whole, you know, what do you want to call it? My whole goal with this is I want it to be valuable. And it's funny, before you joined, I was actually on my YouTube channel looking at some old videos I made because I have some old videos that have a good amount of views. But I was passionate about what I did, and I look back and I'm like, I'm just not passionate about that anymore. You know, I don't want to do the streams and make the videos and all that. But what I want to do is get on here and talk and have some type of value in this so when people hear it, they like it. And, you know, I'm going to skip down our doc a little bit because that's how I feel about a guy named Benji Sales. He is somebody on Twitter that everybody should follow if you're into games and movies. And his name is at Benji Sales. That's it. And he says, I cover the video games industry with a focus on sales, data, social metrics, and business. Also gaming industry news in general. I started following this guy, right? And he posts on Twitter the sales, you know, metrics from games and stuff like that. And I find that valuable. And one thing that I like doing is I love talking about the actual gaming industry, the metrics of games, which is kind of going to be the topic of our show today. The biggest but the buggiest launch in the history of exclusive video games, like ever.
Ain't that the truth?
We're going to get to that in a minute, but this is the Senate Podcast. You're going to find weekly episodes on all major platforms, and our biggest platform is actually, I just looked at it. It's I believe Apple Podcast. We're also on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts, a few other ones. Those are the main three, like, podcast platforms, but also on YouTube. And on YouTube, we have two different shows, the Senate podcast and then live sessions with the High Council. We're
I
going to
am
have
the Senate.
it's all pop culture related, Star Wars reference, one of the biggest pop culture, IPs.
You want to hear a crazy fun fact?
Yeah, hit me with it.
Pokemon is the world's biggest IP.
And I was going to transition into that. You just evolved, man. You literally just went from stage 1 to stage 2, and we're going to get to stage 3 as soon as we level up a little bit more. So, before we get into that, I'm going to throw it to you. Give me something you have been playing or watching, some kind of content not related to Pokemon.
Because that is 90% of my consumption.
Like you
I got
said,
a good one.
biggest.
I got a good one. Since Thanksgiving, since my little mini vacation, I have watched nothing but Mighty Morphin Power Rangers season 1.
Oh man, yeah, we got
start to finish. That. I finished season 1. I think I'm committing to at least going up until Wild Force, which is where I left off in life. So I really want to. What inspired this is obviously the passing of the most iconic figure of our generation, the Green Ranger Tommy, R.I.P. Pouring out some
we got
Diet Coke for him.
Pour out my Celsius right here.
Yeah, I left off. I literally watched Power Rangers every morning up until almost high school. It was kind of like a secret.
Where'd you leave off? You said Wild Force.
Yeah, Wild Force. I believe it's Wild Force. I'm really interested in the was it Super Samurai or something? Samurai.
Oh yeah, that's the newer one.
I think it's like 4 ago, bro. They're still going off.
Oh, you're actually right. Yeah. They have, wow. There's a lot I didn't even realize. Never mind.
They never stop turning them out, bro. Yeah, because the Samurai season is when they had the crazy Ranger War where they all show up, and that was what's Tommy's real name? David Lee something or I forget. He's Tommy to me. I'm terrible with actor names.
Jason David Frank. I knew that. It's just when you're alive, stuff just leaves your head.
Yeah. And it messes me up too because Jason's the Red Ranger, so it really confuses me.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was that Power Ranger War episode. It's like the finale. The Samurai Rangers have been fighting like 5 episodes, and then they think they won. They all morph down, and then all of a sudden, like all these dudes start pulling up on them. And then out of nowhere, literally every season of Power Rangers shows up, every single one, and Tommy returns as the Green Ranger, the tried and true green, and it's one of the best Power Ranger scenes ever. And now especially it's very powerful.
I mean, he's him as the White Ranger is one of my all-time favorite characters in all of like fiction.
I'm even going to go one step further and saying when he returned on the Dinosaur season, Thunder,
he was the Black Ranger. Dino Thunder.
Yeah. Nothing's cooler than an OG Ranger coming back as a new Ranger. Jason did it as the Gold Ranger in Zeo. That was sick.
Oh, the Gold Ranger in Zeo was such a cool design too.
Yeah, his Megazord was sick, his costume was sick, his powers were sick. I was a Jason fanboy growing up. I was always Ride or Die Red.
Me too. Yeah.
But now as an adult, the Green Ranger hits different. Especially the episodes where he arrives and he goes evil and all that. Like even the acting for how bad and cringy Power Rangers acting is, it was really good.
I mean, Power Rangers, it wouldn't have, blew up like it was without him. So
yeah, that was a completely new dynamic because like every episode is pretty much copy and paste. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah,
dude, I saw binging 60 episodes of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I can't even tell you the amount of times I watched the cutscene of the Megazord transforming. Like, it's etched into my brain now.
I left off at Dino because it was two after Wild Force. So there was Wild Force, Ninja Storm, Dino. So I think Dino's Thunder's probably my favorite, but man, Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder both, I feel like they were just peak. I mean, they were so good. I mean, Dino Thunder's rated pretty high compared to all of them. It actually might be
I
rated the highest.
I watched a couple like Watch Mojo Power Ranger episodes, and
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if you ever did watch Mojo on YouTube, but
Yeah, I love them.
I think it was like top 10 darkest scenes of Power Rangers or something, and Power Rangers RPM showed up a lot. A season that I really knew nothing about or cared about. It's like the time traveling season. And apparently that's like the darkest season of Power Rangers ever. Like there's a lot of
Okay, yeah.
the first episode the Red Ranger dies and the new Red Ranger takes over the main character.
Okay, so that's 2009. So yeah, that would have been
That was when I graduated.
yeah, that would have been after, way after I stopped. I mean, I think I watched a little bit of Jungle Fury, which was 2008. I'm looking at, but no, RPM. I'm reading it. It's in the near future. It looks like it's supposed to be a darker take. Man, we gotta binge Power Rangers and have a full on Power Ranger episode.
I would love that.
I might have to write that down. So besides Power Rangers, anything else?
It's literally been Power Rangers and Pokemon.
Awesome.
Like 100%.
What a throwback. Those are like that's the 90s combo. Power Rangers, Pokemon.
You could say I refuse to grow up.
That's fine. Hey, I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, so I'm not that far behind you.
That's on my list right now.
It is so good because like we were talking about with value, it's 45 minutes long, feels perfect length, doesn't feel too short, doesn't feel too long. Because usually I feel like specials are either they miss or they hit, and the way James Gunn does it, I won't spoil anything for you, but he's kind of hit or miss for me too. But
Agree.
the basically carry over the same energy from the Suicide Squad, like the movie,
Yeah.
carry over that same energy into Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, and put Kevin Bacon, Drax, Mantis in there. It's really good. It's a really good special.
Did you just say Kevin Bacon's in it?
Yeah.
Spoiler.
He was all in the trailers.
I
Oh,
didn't
my
even
bad.
know. I didn't even know. I didn't even see the trailers, but
That's
I
awesome.
know Werewolf by Midnight was really good, so I was actually really looking forward to this as
Yep,
well.
that's on my list. And that brings me to like the whole, the first episode we talked about the Marvel overload. Like, how about this, Marvel? Calm down on the amount of movies you're putting out every year and just give us some better specials like this.
I like Black Panther, but I agree. It feels like the Marvel I do want takes forever and doesn't come out, and then all
Yeah.
the Marvel I don't want, it's like every other one.
Yeah. And it's funny because even with all of this Marvel, there's still like you can't get away from it. I've been playing Marvel Snap on my phone since the first episode. I've been talking about it. I mean, that card game, it's like a simplified version of Yu-Gi-Oh, but with Marvel characters. It's amazing.
That game scares me because I know me.
You're
And
gonna get addicted.
I don't have the time or money to get addicted to another thing.
You're gonna get addicted. The one good thing I'll say about that is it doesn't let you get too addicted to it, because there's a point where once you get through all of the like the daily missions and all the missions you can do, it's kind of almost pointless to really grind and spend money until more missions are available. So what I'll do is I'll log on and just completely just binge that game until I get all the missions done, and then I'll stop until more missions become available. So it's not like you're going to be, wasting all of your time with it. And then last thing I'll add in here is I've been playing Ultimate Alliance 3, the Marvel Switch exclusive.
Love that game.
I got it 2 weeks ago because I've been waiting, I feel like years now, for it to go on sale. And I got it for like $40, which is barely a sale. I'm a huge fan of the old Ultimate Alliance games.
Same.
I love the style of it, kind of the not top down, but it's like that pulled back camera where you have four people on screen and you can switch from each one. I feel like that's a very like old style of game design.
It's a
Um,
very underrated series. I feel like it doesn't get the
oh
attention
yeah,
it actually deserves.
yeah. And when they announced that the third one was going to be Switch exclusive, I mean, I get it. The Switch is huge, but the Switch is huge for its exclusives, obviously. But Ultimate Alliance, that's a when you have the previous two games that were multi-platform, you got to put the third one on multi-platform. So I don't know the metrics or the the sales for Ultimate Alliance 3, but either way, great game locked behind hardware. You
I was
hate
gonna
to
say
see it, but
it's probably hurt them if anything.
I think so. I mean, that's I guess it's exclusive, but it's like a second party relationship. The old games were third party. I was waiting for them to bring this third party, but Nintendo locked that down. So either way, having a great time with that. Marvel, man, never gonna get away from them.
Nope. Never
Never,
have, never will.
never have, never will. And then a little series came along called Pokemon. Another series you're never gonna get away from. And I have the receipts to prove it. Games Radar are reporting that, quote, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet had the biggest launch of any console exclusive ever, end quote.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna explain to you how crazy this is right now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read this article, not gonna take long. So let's just jump right into it. Quote, Nintendo has revealed some staggering Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sales figures, and it turns out the new installments had the biggest launch of any console exclusive game ever. In a press release, Nintendo revealed that it sold an eye-watering 10 million copies of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet globally within 3 days of their launch, with 4 million of those units being sold in Japan. This is the highest number ever for global and domestic sales in the first 3 days after the release of software for all Nintendo game consoles, including Switch.
Mind-boggling. It
That
actually,
is
though, it
insane.
makes sense. It really does make sense with the trading card game boom of 2020. The
Yeah,
amount of our generation
yeah,
getting themselves back into the cards and as well as their kids, it's like a perfect storm. Plus the Arceus drop, it kind of actually
yep.
makes sense, but still mind-boggling.
Yeah, and it's nice that you understand, the broader appeal of Pokemon because if you actually look, I should have pulled it up and had it in here. I've looked at the breakdown of sales across the franchise of Pokemon,
It's
and
insane.
merchandise is by far the biggest, which I believe includes the cards and everything else. So as much money as this is making, the games, like that doesn't even compare to the other, aspects of the Pokemon IP.
So with the merchandise, if you subtract the trading cards from it, I guarantee you it's even it that's if
It's
it
yeah,
even is included. Um if you go to
I gotta pull that up.
PokemonCenter.com right now, you can literally buy Pokemon Christmas ornaments,
Yeah,
Pokemon apparel, and
sweaters.
I'm not
Yep,
talking about just t-shirts and sweaters. They have like track pants and like dresses. Um, you can buy pins, you can buy hats, you can buy book bags, you can buy um kitchenware like utensils and dining sets. And like if you think about any object pretty much that is a merchandise, Pokemon has it right now. And their prices aren't the cheapest either. Like we're talking about like $45 button up shirts or $700 plushes that are 3 foot tall. They're normal plushes that are kind of small on the spectrum of stuffed animal or plushes are like $30 a pop. Like I
oh, and
will say
people will go
though,
crazy for them because it's
and
Pokemon.
it is, and that's my biggest argument on why Pokemon will like make it through the test of time. There's now over 1,000 Pokemon. There is a Pokemon out there for every single person.
And it's only going to get bigger. So to continue with this article, quote, as impressive as that is, it doesn't even paint the full picture. As industry analyst Benji Sales points out, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's launch broke a number of sales records. Not only is it the biggest Nintendo Switch and Pokemon launch ever, it is also the highest sales for any console exclusive launch in history. Quote from Benji Sales, there has never been a game ever released for any platform as an exclusive that has sold more than this in 3 days. We are literally looking at the biggest exclusive launch of all time. Insanity, end quote. So to continue with that was Benji Sales right there. So going back to Games Radar. For some context, Animal Crossing New Horizons, one of the best-selling Switch games to date, only sold 1.8 million copies over its first 3 days in Japan, while the more recent Splatoon 3 sold a whopping 3.45 million units in Japan during that same 3-day launch window. For comparison, these historic sales fly in the face of growing criticism around the game's performance and visuals. Games Radar's 3 out of 5 star Pokemon Scarlet and Violet review notes these performance issues and says, it's the most interesting Pokemon game in a long time, for better and worse. End quote. So, for better and worse, what's your first impressions of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet?
Now, when they say for better or for worse, quick sidebar.
Yeah, interesting.
Are they talking
phrase.
about the fact that they're offering refunds and that's buggy, or are they saying because now they got a crazy hill to have to top again in the future?
I read through their review, and it was mostly talking about the pros, like the pros and cons, reading off of Games Radar right now, the review by Joel Franny. The pros, open world is interesting. The music elevates the experience. Terrestrializing adds an intriguing twist to combat. And then the cons are going to be the performance and graphics. The mechanics don't, flow extremely well together, and then the lack of focus and direction on the story. So it's kind of just all in-game stuff. They weren't really referencing the, future outside of, the game impact and whatnot.
Okay, I misheard you. I thought that was a quote from Pokemon, so that makes much more sense now. Like, I thought Pokemon said for better or for worse, not the critic.
Oh,
so that's
here's
why
the thing: Pokemon's on a high right now. They don't care. They could release a game like this that has N64 graphics that runs at 15 frames per second, and they just sold 10 million copies. They don't. For them, it's only better. They have no worse.
I mean, as a business, they have to be on cloud nine.
I mean,
for the entire year of 2020, Pokemon cards were not on the shelf for more than like 3 hours, and that's being generous. Because most people were standing in line waiting for the distributor to come. So to have an entire year where you have sold out of the biggest like toy category item, and then to release the biggest game ever is pretty insane.
Like, and we're what, a week out, a little over a week out from launch, and that was we're only talking about the first 3 days. I mean,
now I'll actually make an argument with one of those cons. I don't know if this is an appropriate time or if you want to get to it later. When it's
what we're gonna do is we're giving our impressions. We neither of us, disclaimer, we haven't finished the game, so we are just talking about everything we've experienced with our time in the game, which we're probably around the same time. So what we can do is let's just go through and give basically our pros and cons.
I didn't like the comment about the N64 graphics.
Okay.
I feel like at times the graphics aren't good, but I would almost argue that they spent too much time trying to make it look pretty that the result is it doesn't flow as good and is so buggy.
I agree. I don't think really graphics matter for Pokemon, if we're being honest.
I will die on this hill that I think Pokemon's peak was when it was on the DS.
Yeah.
I think Gen 4.
Yeah. Gen 4.
Soul Silver, Platinum, Diamond, Pearl to still be 2D bits, but to have a little bit of movement to them. I think that was perfect.
Yeah, and just to you mentioned Gen 4. I got to jump in because that's where I started. My Pokemon journey, man, was Pearl. Um, so I
Late
obviously I
bloomer.
have so much. Yeah, I was a late bloomer. Here's the thing: I was into the cards before that. I was into the
Okay,
anime.
okay.
I was into the movies. VHS of Pokemon, the first movie, all that. But when I actually got into the games, it was when Pearl came out, and that art style, perfect. If they still were in that art style, I'd be completely happy. So I think what's more important actually is the art style of Pokemon rather than the graphics, which brings me to pretty much the same point is performance. I don't really care about performance in Pokemon. It's a turn-based game. I get running around the open world is laggy, there are frame drops, but it's a turn-based game. Uh, it's more about strategy to me. It's not about the second to second gameplay. Really, I mean, sure, it could be better, but does it affect? Does it really affect the game? Obviously not. Look at the reception.
I just feel like it's their most ambitious game next to Legends Arceus, and I just think they bit off a little more they could chew. It's a
So
it's a
yeah,
copy and paste formula. You don't need to make it look like, I don't know, Skyrim or something. I feel like they were like, we need to up the ante and make this look like a real video game, not just a kid's Pokemon game.
you want me to blow your mind about how ambitious this is? Do you know how
Send it.
big the team at Game Freak is?
No.
50 people.
That's insane.
50 people responsible for this game making 10 million in the first 3 days. Just do the math.
And on top of that, they released 3 games this year. 4 if you include Diamond and Pearl as 2 separate games.
That is absolutely crazy. Now, I'm fact checking myself in real time, and it says that number of employees as of 2022 is 169. Now, I
So
don't know.
triple 50. But 50 almost seemed like that's impossible. 160 even sounds impossible.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if that's. You got to think about it though. They could be split up into teams, like you said. They released 3 games this year,
They do
so
work in teams. I can confirm that.
yeah. So I'm trying to find the actual metrics of the team that made Scarlet and Violet.
They have teams and they move the developers around closer to release date. So like once one's about to release, they move people to help finish it, and then once that game's done, that then frees up the rest of the guys to go split on amongst the other things. And I just think from Sword and Shield to uh, Diamond Pearl to Arceus to this just seems so ambitious. Now,
That's what I'm
granted,
saying. Yes, yeah.
now we are talking about all 3D games, but you had to think the decks. The big remember the big Sword and Shield complaint that they got rid of the national decks to do 1,000 3D models and then all their attacks, their interactions, all that stuff is crazy. I mean, granted, they don't do a national dex, but like even the 500 that's in every game is still a lot.
I'm on Wikipedia now looking at the development of Scarlet and Violet to try to find out the size of that team. Either way, 150 total, working on 3 to 4 games at a time. I mean, that explains the performance and graphical issues, and also explains, obviously, seeing how ambitious the game is, you're going to expect that there are some drawbacks like that. So those are obviously some of the cons are performance and graphics, of course. Is that affecting your enjoyment of the game at all?
The only time it affects me is when the game actually crashes, because that
Oh yeah,
really
tell me about
upsets
that.
me. So it's happened to me twice in the past 48 hours. Saturday morning it crashed on me. Luckily it was like 10 minutes after I saved because I don't use autosave. And then last night I grinded for like 5 hours and I lost 3 hours of that because it crashed on me.
That's devastating.
And all I've noticed now a trend out of the 2 times it crashed, both times is while it was like rendering. Like when you're on your what's his name? Maridon?
Yeah, Coridon or whichever one you have.
I have Violet, so mine's
You have Violet?
Maridon
Yep.
or whatever. Whenever I'm like cruising on him and like the background's starting to render to the next, because you can kind of tell where it renders to the next area, like
Yeah, the pop in
frame
and
drops.
whatnot.
It seems to happen every time that's happening in my game.
And now just to give you a heads up, it works better in dock, and it works better if you restart your game every once in a while, especially if you're traveling from big city to big city.
I always have it docked because the Pokemon are too small to be in handheld mode, and I get frustrated.
Okay.
That's a whole nother rant I'll go on, but so it's always docked, and the restarting I did not know was a thing.
Yeah, so because the docked is going to upscale it to 1080p, which is going to cause a lot more performance and graphical issues. Because when it's handheld, it's 720p, which is going to help with the the RAM and the processing.
You know what? The first time it crashed, it wasn't docked. So actually,
Oh, wow.
yeah, I was handheld mode.
And that's crazy to me because I have not had a single issue with the game aside from frame drops. There was one time where a Golduck was like walking in midair, but that was it. I've never had a crash. I've never had anything weird happen. It's just frame drops for me.
The craziest thing is, I was in the same boat as you until literally the past 48 hours. The first time it crashed, it actually said it was going to send a notice to the manufacturer or something. Came up with like an error screen. It was like, to try to resolve this issue, we will be sending out a notice. And I was like, whoa. Second time, it did not offer that. It just went black.
They were like, this has been happening too many times to too many people.
But yeah, I agree with you. I wasn't having, the only issues I was having was frame drop and the NPCs going a little wonky, especially around like stairs.
Some of the clips on Twitter I see of NPCs not obeying the laws of what should be physics whatsoever.
I saw one where like a fat dude walked in between the Pokemon battle, like through it. Like dude was battling another trainer and an NPC walked through the battlefield.
I love it.
But yeah,
Absolutely
and
love
like
it.
stuff like that I'm overlooking just because I love Pokemon and I'm so infatuated with it's a new gen. So of course like I'm like on cloud 9. That's not my problems. My problems is when it affects my gameplay, like crashing.
Yeah.
Or another problem I have is when I throw a Pokeball at a wild Pokemon to initiate the battle, it doesn't freeze, but it just feels super laggy. Like it takes forever for the battle screen to spawn. And trainer battles, they also seem very laggy. Like I swear, I want to time it. I want to time it because it takes forever for the text boxes to show up, and like I'll beat them and I'll be like, yay, I'm over it, and I think it's done because like it looks like it's about to pan back into the game, but then like his dialogue box shows up and then he pays me. It's like a 5-second pause between it. It just seems very, very like time restraining.
Here's another thing that might help. Make sure that your install location for the game is in your system memory and not an SD card.
I don't even have an SD card in my Switch.
Okay, so you know what you need to do? You need to just get Scarlet. I think that's the issue.
I have both. I just am starting with Violet. I always buy both every release.
I'm going to at some point. I have Scarlet at the moment, but there's a lot of weird things going on with the game. But there's, like you said, it's a new gen. They added so many different things. So from the top, the starters, man, which one did you pick versus which one do you think is the best one?
I mean, obviously I'm going to pick the one that appeals to me the most.
Okay, which?
I picked, I'm trying to look up its name so I don't.
I still don't know the names of all of the stages because they have some weird names in this one.
I know. I'm looking up. I got my Pokédex up right now.
To be prepared, I'm
Sprig,
gonna look that up. Oh, Sprigatito.
Sprigatito. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Why'd you pick that one?
Because honestly, third evolution was the most appealing.
So I did the same exact thing. To me, it was Grass Incineroar. Not just that, but it definitely it looked the most appealing. But I do have a caveat to that. But
well, so from what I hear, Spigarito is the most popular starter this gen between him and Fuecoco or whatever his name is.
and that brings me to my caveat. I actually had someone trade me a Fuecoco. So at this point in the game, I have the third evolution on my team of Sprigatito and Fuecoco. I can't pronounce either of them really, but
Same.
But Fuecoco, I actually really, really love Fuecoco's third evolution now that I'm using it and see it in the open world and everything. So I don't regret who I picked, but I think I'm leaning towards Fuecoco as my favorite. But the actual last caveat to this question is I picked Sprigatito. I think I like Fuecoco the most, but the best I think is Quaxley in terms of
disagree.
No, I think in terms of stats and competitive and moveset
I'll agree
and that.
with that.
I
He's
think
definitely the better one.
Yeah, I haven't played around. I don't even have the Pokemon, but from everything I've seen, I feel like he might be, technically the best, if you want to put it that way.
Competitively, there we go.
Yeah.
Quaxley is the best starter. Well,
I believe it.
Third form. Yeah. Here's my problem. Going into this, Quaxley was my favorite of the three.
Okay.
It's the final evolution that turned me away. They had no business.
Yeah, it's terrible.
They gave him a dump truck. His booty's insane.
It's that made you not want to pick him.
Yeah, because I'm gonna have to look at it every time I throw him out in battle.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to have duck butt in my face every Pokemon battle.
Well, the evolution line doesn't even make sense to me.
I mean, it was like a blue duck with a pompadour, and they kind of stuck with it.
So to throw this at you now, big question, but what's your favorite new Pokemon for Gen 9 that isn't a returning Mon?
I have one last thing with the starters before we get into that. So my starter fully evolved last night before my game crashed. Meowscarada. I think it's supposed to be like Masquerade with Meow. Meowscarade. Okay. There we go. Meowscarade. I honestly, this is the only final form that is appealing off the jump. I think Fuecoco's final evolution starting to rub off on me a little bit.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna tell you what Meowscarada looks like, and you're never gonna be able to unsee it again.
Oh, okay, all right, I'm ready.
So it's looked like they took Sprigarito and combined him with Will from Gold and Silver. The Elite Four psychic dude, Will. He has that.
Yeah.
If you don't remember, pull it up.
I'm pulling up now.
It's a mix between him and Arcana from Yu-Gi-Oh! The guy that had the Dark Magician, the all Dark Magician in Battle City.
I'm typing it in now. The stance, the whole vibe and the stance,
it's the
completely
mask.
See that.
It's the mask for me.
Yeah.
It's like this magician. It's like I think it's like a Japanese kind of thing, that magician mask, because Will kind of has it. He has kind of like the Jinx face too, but especially Arcana, Meowscarada looks just like them in my opinion, and it appealed to me. I love Will. I love Arcana.
I love the magic like aspect of it.
Yeah, and the second form has like a yo-yo type thing.
That yo-yo,
I don't even understand.
Doesn't even make sense, but it's awesome.
But so I haven't experienced the other two starters yet, but Meowscarada got her signature move when she evolved, Flower Trick.
Such a great move.
It's broken.
It's broken,
bro.
Absolutely broken.
It's insane.
If you have the right setup with that move, they're done. They're done. It doesn't
So
matter who, they're done.
I'm trying to. I'm in my summary because I'm trying to look at the move. Like I have the move set up, but it won't let me like read the definition of the moves. So I don't know why it's doing that, or why I can't access it. Rather, like you would think it just says remember moves for here. I'll just say forget a move just so I can see it. That's weird. They need to fix that. In your main party, you should be able to read what each move does. Unless I'm missing how to, you can't.
I think the only
Never
way
mind. I
is if you go
got
to
it.
summary.
Yeah, but I do, but it's not showing that. I have to like
You might have to
click.
tab over to it.
I have to say forget a move to do it. But
That's
anyways,
crazy.
flower trick. The user throws a rigged bouquet of flowers at the target. This attack never misses and always lands a crit. And it's a
The fact
base
it has
power
both of those,
70.
which
Insane. Like I could get always crit with like 75% accuracy.
so the fact that it's now 100% of the time for that move, that's like literally Urshifu in Sword and Shield, like the legendary. That was
Mm-hmm.
the gimmick of his move was it always was a crit. Now your starter has a move that always has a crit. That is
Are the
insane.
other two, are their special attacks the same way?
No, so I know Fuecoco's one. I'm looking at the name now. It is Skele. I can't even pronounce it. Skeledirge. Whatever. It is. I don't know the base power off the top of my head, but I know it increases your special attack every time you use the move. So
Okay. That's
yeah,
still
so
good.
basically the more you use it, it's the more powerful the move becomes. But it doesn't have the always hit, always crit aspect. So I mean
That's
that's just
mind-boggling.
insane. So new Pokemon. I'll actually start off with a Pokemon that I saw. As soon as I saw it, fell in love. We saw a lot of leaks of Pokemon and some crazy new Pokemon, like the two Mega Man looking Pokemon, Ceruledge and Armorogue, Bellibolt, Farigiraf, Mabostiff, you got Grafai. You got a lot of cool ones, a lot of cool new ones, a lot of cool Paldean forms. But I'll tell you, my favorite one is Doshbun, if that's how you pronounce it. Literally,
Really?
he is a wiener dog that is made out of bread, and he's a fairy. That's it. His model in game looks amazing, and his moveset I actually love. He does a lot of damage for a fairy type. Obviously not the best fairy type ever, but his ability is called Perfectly Baked Body. He does not take damage from fire types. Like he's just immune to fire moves. And it increases, what does it increase? It increases his man, I need to go to Cerebi. Hold on. While you're thinking of yours. There's so many new ones. So Dashpun, his ability, Well-Baked Body. The Pokemon takes no damage when hit by fire-type moves. Instead, its defense stat is sharply boosted.
The type like matchups with the new Pokemon are insane.
They're interesting.
They're like this is like a competitive gen. Even with the terrestrialization, put that aside and just the new Pokemon they released, it's very like if you're not up on your type advantages, which I'm pretty good up until like my problem types are like psychic, dark, bug,
Yeah, me too.
and fairy. I don't know why, because they're hard to like equivalate. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, electric doesn't work with ground.
Yeah.
Like, water puts out fire. But then when you get into like psychic, bug, dark, fairy, I don't know, it just confuses me. Someone told me a thing where it's like smart people are afraid of bugs, so psychics. But I feel like that's backwards. I think bugs better than I don't know. I'm gonna stop.
No, see, I'm the same. Yeah, I'm the same as you. I don't really, even though I like to play competitive, I don't even have that memorized. And I don't know. That's not the fun of the game for me. Is I love competitive, but
I dabbled in competitive, but like it's
dude,
insane.
It is so in depth, especially now with adding a third type, which we can get into the terrestrializing here in a second, but just to correct myself from earlier, the chance of having a crit is 6.25. Anyways, usually it's a 6% chance, and a crit times like multiplies your move by 2.
Yep, I knew it was double. I knew a crit was double.
So what I'm assuming is it's 70 base.
Yeah,
that makes
so it does 140.
It does
every
140
time.
on
It
top
never
of the
misses.
stab, which is 1.5. So add 35 to that. So that's 175. And then if you Terra type your Pokemon into a grass, that's going to double the stab. So just take it times 3. You're doing 210 damage with a never miss move.
So back to the topic on favorites.
Insane. Yeah, what's
So
yours?
I'm going to give an honorable shout out to
Okay.
the new regional forms that aren't regional forms. I love how like fourth wall the Pokédex entries are. Like, for example, like with Wiglet, it
Yeah.
says people think it's a Paldean form Diglett, but it's actually not related to it at all, even though it has similar character. Like it's aware.
Yeah.
But like I think even the Toro says it as well. Like it says, like it literally tells you, do not think it's a Paldean regional form. Think of it as a new Pokemon. It's just kind of cool how they did that. I like all of them. I like the prehistoric and futuristic versions of the Pokemon
Yeah,
that
I
I haven't
can't
even
wait to get
gotten
to that
to
part.
yet.
Yeah. That
I
could be a
would
whole
s-
episode. Just that
I'm gonna
post-game stuff.
I'm gonna give my top 3
Okay.
because I think they can change depending on when I use them and how much I like them. But so far, top 3. Number 3 is Finzen's final evolution that I haven't gotten yet. The Dolphin, the first
Yeah, he's
Dolphin
cool.
Pokemon. That superhero ability looks nuts. Because when Finzen evolves, it becomes the same Pokemon but with a heart on its chest. And then if you swap it out and back in, it becomes the hero form with like, I think it's pseudo legendary stats, if not legendary stats.
I
It has
actually
like
had no idea that was a thing.
it has insane stats, like, but you have to switch it out and back in again. So that's like the problem because the Finzen line has terrible stats originally, and then it becomes like an insane Pokemon.
I will be looking into that tonight.
And we'll get on this topic. The way you evolve Finzen is annoying, but we'll get on that because we have a whole.
We're gonna get to that.
Number 2 is Tinkatuff, and then what? Tinkaton.
Ooh, yeah.
Big normal type Pokemon fan, but I think that stems from like in pink and white Pokemon, like Miltank, Chansey, Blissey, Wigglytuff. I don't know why, but I love that like normal fairy typing. So Tinkaton just does it for me. And I've been loving the memes about Tinkaton because its dex entry is it hits rocks in the air to like hit Corviknights. It's like his natural predator. So just to see this little pink gremlin gnome looking thing
Run around with a
giant hammer, and I know that it's hitting Corviknights out of the air with rocks is the best. The memes have been phenomenal. And then number 1 favorite is what's his name? It's the Primeape that's the ghost type.
Let me get there. It has such a great name. Why?
I know. I don't have one yet. So it's still ranked 1 even though I haven't used it just because I know I'm saving it for the end game.
Give me one second.
I'm a huge Primeape fan, but to make it ghost fighting is insane.
Annihilate.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Honestly, that gets the award for best name.
Yeah. And the design looks phenomenal.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
But yeah, that's my top 3.
I would say, honorable mention King Gambit, however you pronounce it, the third evolution for what's his name? Bisharp?
Yes.
He's literally just sitting down, looks like a giant samurai.
New evolutions, they're so good.
It's so good.
Also, shout out to Belly Bolt, that electric.
Oh, I haven't used him yet.
Dude, his ability is nuts. So
his is like well-baked body, right?
I don't think so. His is I'm trying to look up the name right now. His is called Electromorphosis, and
Oh, okay.
anytime he takes damage, it boosts the next electric type move. It's basically charge, but instead of having to use the move, if you take damage, so it's a free charge every time you take damage. So
Oh,
your
okay.
next
Yeah, yeah.
electric move is
That's what
boosted.
that means. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's insane.
I
He's
love that. I
so
might,
good.
and I love electric type's one of my favorite typings, so I'm definitely gonna get him soon.
I low key wish he wasn't pure electric. Like I wish he would have, but like I'm glad they didn't just do like electric ground like every other
Yeah.
frog. Um, but I have him with I've been switching on for like because like like your held items like there's like the competitive stack and then there's like I'm just doing a playthrough. So as I'm
Yes.
gathering my held items, they keep shifting around. But I was running Shell Bell on him, so every time I took damage, I'd boost my electric attacks, but then every time I dealt damage,
You
I
got
was getting
more.
health. But now I got wise glasses on, so that charge is just
He
getting
just one shots. He's
stacked,
probably a
bro.
monster.
Dude,
And
he is.
especially, here's the competitive. I try to look at it from how am I going to use him to destroy people?
Yeah.
Bait people. Put in, something that's weak to electric against an electric type. When they go to hit you, just swap. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. The
So
age old OG
yes,
competitive move.
the age old move. So new moves, also new features in the game. What's some of the best new features?
Um Definitely the quick heal.
Yes.
How convenient the I mean, how convenient the Pokemon centers are. You don't have to walk in a building, even though not being able to walk in a building to me is a con for the game itself. But we can get into that later. I kind of like the overall like operating system of it. Like I know Sword and Shield, you could like access your boxes right there, and like
It feels better in this game for
it
whatever reason.
does. It does feel better. I agree with that. I'm trying to think of anything else that are features that I like. Um, that's it for features. I have actually some complaints with some of the
All right.
features.
What's some of the worst new features?
I don't like the map
As in the layout
that
design?
rotates. It like
Oh, okay.
it rotates on you. Now, granted, I have Joy-Con drift, so it makes it my life a living
Of
hell.
course. Who doesn't have Joy-Con drift?
um, and I don't like.
You said about going into buildings.
Oh yeah, I don't like not going in the buildings. Like I feel like that takes away the charm of the cities to where like they're almost not memorable.
Yeah, and one thing I was going to mention was actually not going in specifically to Pokemon centers to heal your Pokemon, which I like because it saves time. But also, I feel like they added the TM shop there. They added the
Oh yeah,
which was nice.
The Pokemarts was in the Pokemon Center in Sword and Shield, so they did combine them like already, which
Yeah.
much needed.
So now, like they were like, okay, quality of life changes. Let's put the shop, the TM, the Poke Center, and the social hub all together. Which I like the convenience of it, obviously, but like you were saying, now the towns feel more empty because that was
Yep.
part of the charms of the game. So I think the issue is development time. If they would have had another year to make all
Maybe
the
even 6
buildings,
months.
yeah, give them six more months, Nintendo, or actually the Pokemon Company. Give them 6 more months to have them add stuff in something interesting into those buildings to make the game feel more lived in. Because you know what, it just feels like you're running around an environment that
It's like
isn't.
a hollow. It's like a hollow
Yes,
world.
yes,
Because like before, it'd be like, oh, this is the city with
yeah,
the shopping center, or oh,
yes.
this is the city with the slot machines, or this is the, and like I'm like a completionist with Pokemon, where like to date I still check trash cans for like hidden items, and like I go in every building because I need to make sure there's not like a trade or a free item or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I will say though, you brought up the TMs. Love the TM mechanic in this game.
So the picking up the what are they called? The materials from
Yeah,
the
like the
defeated Pokemon.
fur or
Yes.
sweat or slobber. I was a huge fan with the way Arceus did the Pokédex, where it's not just you need to encounter or catch a Pokemon to complete the dex, you actually have to complete missions. I actually was a gigantic fan of that, especially with me wanting to 100% it to get the shiny charm. I thought that was kind of like, even though it's like this daunting task I got to complete to get my charm, it was actually kind of felt like it felt
Felt more rewarding.
yeah, rewarding, and it felt like a pretty like solid task to complete, and like it was fun. Like some of them are a little grueling, but like some of them are like you have to use X amount of moves or do like a agile move, so like you could stack them and get like 3 out of 1 encounter or whatever. um I really, so like, to me it makes either catching or what's the mechanic where you let your Pokemon out and they just like beat everybody up?
Oh, I forget what it's.
The Let's Go
Okay,
feature,
the Let's Go feature.
which
I love that.
great
Love it.
name, but so it actually gives you a reason to do it, so you can like build TMs, or you can just trade them in for money.
So they incorporated that into now how you evolve certain Pokemon. I know you said that was one of, the features you weren't too fond of was, now you have to actually like complete almost these prerequisites before, like in a different way than you had to before to evolve certain Pokemon.
I was
Like,
calling more for it for the Pokédex. Now the
oh, okay.
evolutions are confusing. That's a con. How confusing and how much you need to know to even do it. Like you have to look them up.
So now let me, I was going to say, let me give you an example as I click on this link that doesn't work. So
I
thanks,
got one
IGN.
off the top. Finzen the dolphin.
Yes.
You have to level him up at least level 38 in Union Square. So you have to be online in order to evolve him.
That's not okay. That's a
Like
whole topic for a completely separate episode, but that's shouldn't be a thing.
that seems like a cash grab move almost.
That seems like you are punishing the player because you want to force them to use some kind of online, functionality that it doesn't matter if they want to use it or not.
Yeah, and like I have online, so it's whatever, but I would have never been able to figure that out naturally.
So the example I was using, was just going to use real quick is the King Gambit, the one I mentioned before. Pawniard evolves at level 52 into Bisharp, right? Bisharp has to hold the leader's crest item and defeat 3 Bisharps, 3 other Bisharps to evolve.
Wow, so it's a hold item evolution, but instead of trading, they have to
Yes, you have to
defeat
do
three
you have to do
or
some kind of
move
prerequisite.
or whatever.
You have to
That's
defeat, yeah.
crazy.
And
I
I don't know where it tells you that in game. It might, but I don't think half of these do.
unless you have to like, because like you can't even talk to NPCs anymore. They just text bubble up. But yeah, unless there's like a library where you can read the books on how, because like I remember with, I think it's the Reggies in one of the gens.
Oh,
You have
yo,
to like get a Whalmer, and like
that's in
have a
Sword and Shield in
Manaphy in
the
your
Crown Tundra.
party.
It's insane.
There's all kinds of like
Well, they did that back
puzzles.
in Emerald.
That's why
They
I was
did
saying
that.
Gen
Yeah,
3. You have to read Braille. So like it's
yeah.
not like Pokemon hasn't done this before, but like that was for like secret legendaries. This is for like
Yes.
every new Pokemon or new form Pokemon is like this.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. It's like now, we got the internet and we just hop on there. It's like, if this game would have had playtesters, which it didn't, I can tell you right now, nobody tests this game aside from will it work if someone buys this game full price.
I
Someone
was
said yes,
actually
they sold it.
thinking about that. Sorry to interrupt you,
No,
but you
it's
just put a giant
yeah.
smile on my face. I was like, did they even test
No,
this?
we're the
And
testers.
if they did, who was the guy that was like, well, this is good enough?
I will confidently say that this was not play tested, except for the fact that somebody had to literally put it in a Switch to see if it turned on and worked to be able to go gold and sell it. Aside from the going gold, the prerequisites for going gold are very, very low. Like there's a low bar. I can guarantee you that this was not play tested at all.
But it kind of really does show you the power of Pokemon that like I
Yep.
feel like any like most IPs or like franchises, if they would have released a game this buggy, I feel like there would have been
Oh
like
no.
dire consequences.
How about this? Sonic Frontiers, right?
Yeah, I heard mixed things about that game.
Let me blow your mind for a second. How big was the team that made Sonic Frontiers?
I couldn't tell you.
It's 50 people.
Wow.
I'm getting this from Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. They were actually talking about it. Also, Retro Rebound. Look that up on YouTube. That's where I'm getting this information from. So blame him. Anyways, 50 people. That game, performance and graphically, I would say is better than Pokemon. However, Sonic Frontiers kind of got, even though it got some praise from Sonic fans, it got dragged through the mud because of those graphic and performance issues. However, the same amount of people worked on Sonic, which was an ambitious game, that worked on Scarlet and Violet, which was also an ambitious game. But look at the power of Pokemon. Look at the sales for Scarlet and Violet versus the sales for Frontiers.
I would love to know the metrics on the controversial Nintendo allowing a return on this game. I want to know how many people are actually returning it.
You know, and it's going to be interesting doing a retrospective on this game, and even a month or two from now, looking at, like you said, how people are going to respond to this, just the quality. Is it acceptable for Nintendo to release this or not?
Every like pretty serious Pokemon fan that I've talked to about it has said they loved it. I would say overall opinion, I love it. I can
Yeah.
look past the bugs just because I love Pokemon so much. But I will say, like, I think your generic just gamer base or people that are like they might have a history with Pokemon, but they're not like crazy into it. I think they're gonna be the ones that return it. But I
Yes.
still am not
Yeah.
seeing a lot of people like saying they hate it so much that they need to return it.
I've seen people say that about Sonic, which, in my opinion, from what I've seen, I haven't played it yet, it is not this bad, but I've seen people almost protesting Sonic and praising Pokemon. So that goes to show you, basically the whole topic and premise of this episode is, what can Pokemon get away with because of its fame, because of how many people love it, and they can get away with a lot. Give me kind of your synopsis of the game and your takes so far with all the bugs we've talked about. Why do you keep playing it?
So I'm not crazy. I heard the story is kind of nuts at the end, which
That's what I've been hearing.
I haven't read spoilers, but I heard it's crazy. So far, like it's Pokemon. So the beginning of the game, there's like zero to no story. But I will say the characters are a much bigger improvement than they have been. I would say since Gen 5, the character development has been going downhill.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sword and Shield was terrible.
Yeah, Alola was starting the trend of like giving characters like almost no story. Like it wasn't terrible yet. And it's kind of interesting too because Gen 5 was like peak story and character development with like Gessis and Z or N and it got like real dark and like real crazy, and then Sun and Moon there was like zero story, zero character development. Like Hop was so throwaway. Leon was kind of like the only character with a personality and he was the champion.
Yeah.
But like your rival in this, the Goku of Pokemon as she's been dubbed.
She's cool.
She's like romantically in love with battling you. It's crazy.
I love it. Dude, the story and the characters. I honestly would be a lot harsher on this game if there wasn't redeeming qualities like the 3 different stories. Even if they're not amazing, they're redeemed by great character development.
Also, shout out to the electric gym leader. Did you get to her yet?
Yes. Yeah, the influencer.
Ion or whatever her name is. that gimmick she had was the funniest, most fun character plot any or gym leader rather
Yeah.
that of any, like that she's a content creator, and like when you're going to battle her and you're talking, it shows like her like chat, and the dude
Yeah,
like
her chat
donates
and stuff.
$3,000 to her. Like that was the coolest gym ever.
Well, the gym test, I don't know how I even feel about them, honestly, because I like the traditional, battle the gym's lackeys and then face the gym leader, which is how the ghost gym is, which I so far is my favorite. But I think the gym tests are really cool. Like, have you got to the normal gym yet?
No, I'm working on. I was at the water gym before my game crashed, so now I gotta work my way back up again.
Okay, the normal gym leader is actually my favorite leader because he's just like he's literally so basic and it fits the whole normal type, and it's something that it doesn't feel like he's basic because they didn't put time into it. It feels like he's so basic because they wanted him to feel that way, and I love it because you got all of these crazy personalities, and then you have the normal gym leader who is just extremely basic.
That's all. Like they're like fourth walling like normal
Yes,
type.
yeah, they're like literally fourth walling the normal typing.
Well, like normally with like a normal like let's just look at like the first 4 or 5 gens. Usually it's like a handful of routes and then like Lavender Town or
Yeah,
whatever that have like over the top boss. But this one, it's like every other one is crazy good.
it's and that's the power of Pokemon, I guess, because there's a lot like it doesn't matter about the performance or graphics because they have so many redeeming qualities about it. Whether it's music, whether it's the legendaries or the new Pokemon, whether it's the storylines or the gimmick, because this has probably been the best gimmicks ever with the terrestrializing all of the open world aspects like in Arceus, the raids from Sword and Shield return and they have their own, quality of life improvements too. So I mean
They're
there's just
so
so
much
many.
faster.
That's
The
what I'm
raids are
saying. And
so much.
that was the complaint from Sword and Shield. They were too slow.
Now, I
Um
will say they could have edited down the terrestrialization and the catching scenes
the
maybe by like
animation, yeah.
5 seconds because the
Yeah.
animation's like a movie. But it's like
Yeah.
stuff like that. You made that look so clean and beautiful. Like you didn't need to make it that long or go that hard into it. And I feel like it's little things like that, or like the texturing of the Pokemon when they're in a battle. They look so much better than they do in the Outworld. Um, but you brought up terrestrialization, and I do want to talk about that. And as like a segment into that, I was so happy to hear. One of my favorite things about Sword and Shield in the gym battles and like Elite Four and stuff is when they do like the boss VMAX at the end,
Yeah.
and you start
Yeah.
hearing
Yeah.
the chanting with the music. When they brought that back with the
Yeah.
terrestrialization in the gyms, I was so stoked because that
Or
gets you
how yeah.
so hype.
How about they stop the battle to play like a short like cutscene almost. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how many times you've seen it. I can't remember with the first few gyms, but I know with the ghost gym and the normal gym, especially the normal gym, like he stops when he throws out his last Pokemon and he like invites the town into like the place where you're battling and the whole town comes in and starts like cheering and it's like this whole cinematic as the final Pokemon's coming out.
That's real cool,
Yeah.
actually. I just thought of this actually. In Sword and Shield, the final gym leader, I think his name's like it's like Ryan, but spelled funny, or Rian or something.
I can't even
But
remember.
he's like he's kind of like a social media guy because he has the Rotom phone that like
Yeah.
records them and like cuts away to like the Rotom filming. I
Yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
liked that, and I think that was kind of like the influence with Ion, the electric gym leader. I thought that was real fun. I would like to see, like, it seems like with gym leaders in Pokemon games, like their gimmicks always like how the gym's laid out. I know like a lot of them were like puzzles, or like there's rocks or water or like
Stuff
a
you got to
spider
move or
web.
climb around. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see them giving them their gym leaders more personality outside of just how the gym's built.
And the fact that I think you've noticed this too. You have like the building is like a reception area for the gym leader, but the gym leader kind of can choose how and where they want their gym to be. You know what I mean? It's not like the same gym in each town. It's like, yeah, you got the reception center almost, but where the gym leader wants their gym is kind of like up to them, and you can see that in their personality. Like the ghost gym it's this like stadium, like this rock stage. And the normal gym is like in a like diner, like a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of hidden. Like the bug one was up on this kind of like terrace almost.
Yup.
It gives it that personality.
I agree. It's like in certain ways they gave stuff a lot of personality, and then other ways like removing going into buildings they took away. It's like they traded
Yeah.
away
Yeah,
some.
they traded it. Yeah, it's like they traded this nostalgia for this um new feature or new take. You know what I mean?
I there's this quote I love. There are no solutions. There's only trade-offs.
You know what? That's what this game feels like.
But yeah, I think I covered everything that I can think of off the top of my head, at least so far. I wish I had an opinion on like the end game and the end of the story, but I'm just not there yet.
Well, me either.
I'm
And
excited for it.
this has honestly been a banger, and I can't wait to edit it and put it out because this is so far my favorite episode. I feel like
Oh,
that's going to be
sick.
for every new episode, but
Yeah, that makes
this has
sense.
been a banger. So what I'll do is I'll actually have you back for a post game.
Word, that would be awesome, actually.
Yeah,
I would enjoy that.
So then we can give our like final thoughts on everything. Because now this is literally like our impressions, but I'll have you back for a post game review and all that. So
Word, I'm also totally down to do a Power Rangers episode.
I
Big Power Rangers
I'm
fan.
actually, because I was going to, after he passed, I was like, man, I really want to go back and just put myself into that world again. And like you said, I mean, me going to school every morning, I would turn on Power Rangers before I got on the bus. So that's like a huge part of my childhood too. So let's do something like that. So before we head out though, plug your channels.
As of right now, it's pretty much just Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I'll be launching YouTube and possibly Twitch once I get my computer up and running. Still,
Nice.
I gotta suss it out because I don't plan on like having a rigorous stream schedule. I'd rather like stream once or twice a week and then make content out of that, like edit it down for like a YouTube video or like make shorts or reels or whatever, make like long form content like actual videos. But depending on what makes more sense, Twitch or YouTube. I'll definitely be on YouTube though. So, but yeah, it's Chubb's Cards and Collectibles. Um, you can see all my Facebook lives, all my like previous box breaks and all that on Facebook. Just with technology, with just using my iPhone to go live, that was like the easiest way for the time being. But that's about to change. So yeah, Chubb's Cards and
Nice. And
Collectibles.
what I'll do is I'll put it in the description, and I'll link it. I'll put links to that, and what I'll do is whenever you make the YouTube and Twitch and all that, I'll put the links on there for that.
Ew, that'd be sick. I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, thank you for coming on. This has been, like I said, this has been a banger. So that's your social and all that. So this is the Senate podcast. We have a link tree I'll put in the description too, so you can find us on whatever you need to, and also Discord, because Discord is where we're at mostly, and that's where all of us that do the shows kind of talk about things and put topics out there, talk, theorize, all that. So it'll all be down in the description. So with that, you got anything else?
My one last takeaway.
Last
I want
takeaway.
to do my Emperor Palpatine impression again.
Oh, please do. That's honestly that's going to be a staple for the show. Everyone got to do their Palpatine.
Yes, I support that. I am the Senate.
Do it. I'm gonna. You know what? We're gonna have some fun with this episode.
Sick.
Do it now. So.
All right, brother. Thank you for having me on. This was fun.
Yeah, it's been fun, man. Thank you. So that's been episode 5. Let's
Do it.